Go inside the Crimson Tide. Tider Insider TV with Rodney Orr and Gary Harris.
Good news for two recently injured Alabama football players. Nick Saban said on the SEC Spring Football Teleconference today that Cyrus Jones and Denzel Duvall were cleared to take part in summer workouts. Both players missed spring practice with their injuries, but they are now A-OK and good to go, and so are we. Good evening, everybody. Welcome in to Tider Insider TV, presented each and every week by Buffalo Rock, alongside Rodney Orr from TiderInsider.com. I'm Gary Harris. Tonight we've got Pepsi Next, all that great Pepsi flavor. Sound effects back this week. There it is. But 2/3 less calories. So what does that mean to you? Well, 150 calories in a regular 12-ounce can of Pepsi, only 60 calories in Pepsi Next. A little thirsty tonight. So you can get all that great Pepsi flavor with a lot less sugar. All right, Rodney, good news for next year and good news for the future of Alabama football. Two more commitments. We're going to get to one that's still a few years away. But first, Louisiana safety Joshua Perry. He picked Alabama over Ole Miss, Mississippi State, LSU, and others. Let's talk about this guy. Alabama always looking for safeties that can not only cover in space, but can also come up and cover the run, play the run. He's 6'1", 181 pounds, so already a good-sized safety, going to get bigger. Your thoughts on Joshua Perry?
Well, he's, like you said, Gary, he's got a good frame. He's got a good size already. You know, he's going to get bigger, stronger, faster once he gets here. And, you know, you look at his athletic ability, has a lot of that. He had a really outstanding junior year. He had 6 interceptions, which tells you he can find the football. And so I just think when you look at him, he's certainly a guy that, you know, you understand why they took him.
Not a huge offer list. We mentioned some of the other schools that were interested, but again, Alabama, a lot of times they recruit guys that are ranked highly nationally, but sometimes, you know what, they find guys, they get on them quick, and that certainly looks like the case with Joshua Perry. Alabama's had good luck recruiting players from the state of Louisiana, and we will stay in the state of Louisiana. Joshua Perry, the 8th commitment for 2016, but, you know, these days it's never too early, Rodney, for players to commit, and a 2018 prospect did that on Monday. Now, 2018, what does that mean? Well, he's in the 9th grade right now. But Dare Rosenthal is a big boy for the 9th grade, about 6'7", 290 pounds, from Faraday, Louisiana. He picked the Crimson Tide. Now, there is a long time to go before February 2018, but still, oftentimes, even when these kids are young, they do wind up signing with their first choice. What do you know about him? You know, I know it's early on.
You know, really, Gary, we don't really follow guys that closely in the 9th grade, but I guess we're going to have to start doing that a little bit more closely. And, you know, he's a big, strong, physical kid. He's kind of a freak for his age. I mean, there's no question about that. And not only that, I think Alabama offered an 8th grader yesterday, a running back out of Miami.
Well, Lane Kiffin is on the staff now.
Yep.
So when he was at Southern California, he was one of the first coaches to start offering those really young guys. Again, you know, he'll be a sophomore this fall, already 288 pounds. So, you know, just based on size alone, it's scary. You know, if he has another growth spurt, he can wind up being 6'9", 6'10", 340, 350 pounds. So a long way to go. But still, obviously a very talented young man to already have a committable offer from the University of Alabama. Well, part of recruiting, Rodney, as you know, is just getting out and about, and Nick Saban did just that last week at the Crimson Caravan in Dallas. He and new men's basketball coach Avery Johnson were the featured guests last Tuesday in the Lone Star State. It's a fertile recruiting ground for football and basketball. It's a place that's very familiar, in fact, to new men's basketball coach Avery Johnson. Coach Johnson said he's excited about his opportunity to begin molding young athletes at the college level.
This is the perfect time at this stage of my coaching career to do what I'm doing, to help these student athletes aspire higher and try to achieve their goals, whether it's to go to the NBA and be a part of it like I was, or whether it's to graduate from college and be very productive citizens.
You know, I really like Avery. He's got a really, really good personality. I think the players are going to really relate well to him. He's very knowledgeable. He's got some really, really good experience. I think his energy and enthusiasm is going to be a real asset to him as a college coach.
There's no doubt about that, and that energy and enthusiasm for Avery Johnson already paying off in recruiting. People were concerned about him being able to recruit since he never coached in college. No more concerns. I mean, he's showing that, you know, he's got the attitude. He relates to these young players. And Rodney, I tell you something, this is a guy, now granted, he's never coached a game, but you can tell that high school basketball players are attracted to Avery Johnson's infectious enthusiasm.
Well, we thought that all along, Gary. You could tell that at his opening press conference, just how enthusiastic and, you know, how upbeat he was, and certainly a very confident guy in terms of where he wants to take this program, has a plan, has direction. And I think when you look at all those things, Gary, and his background in the NBA and all the success he's had as a player, as a coach at the highest level, I think that's certainly a big attraction to these kids who, let's be honest, their goal is to get to the NBA.
Well, he did not get an opportunity to recruit his son, Avery Johnson Jr., because he wasn't a college coach. Avery Johnson Jr. signed with Texas A&M, but I don't think anybody was surprised when the news broke last week that A.J. Jr. will commit to Alabama, or transfer to Alabama, I should say. A&M understands it. I mean, you know, you're coaching in the same league. You don't want to coach against your son. He will have to sit out the next season, but then we'll have 3 years of eligibility. And the good thing about Avery Johnson Jr., Texas A&M did not sign him because he was Avery Johnson's son. Clearly, Avery Johnson Jr. is an SEC caliber point guard. And it's a big pickup for Alabama just from a basketball standpoint alone, Rodney.
Oh, no doubt about it, Gary. At that position, a guard, a point guard, and I think, you know, when you look at him, he has a lot of the understanding of the game, being a coach's son, and he's been around it all his life, so he certainly has a great grasp of what he's doing there, out there directing the team.
Didn't play a lot as a freshman at A&M, but did have a career-high 10 points earlier this last season against Northwestern State. Well, the Alabama softball team's gearing up for the postseason. That's Bama time in softball. The Tide, though, bounced from the SEC tournament in the second round against arch rival Auburn. But on Sunday, they learned their destination, and it will be right here in Tuscaloosa as expected. Alabama was one of 11 SEC teams to earn bids to the tournament. The Tide is the number 6 overall seed. That means they'll host a regional. The top 8 seeds host. They will have a regional on Friday. They'll play Fairfield. They'll also have Washington and USC upstate in the bracket. So, you know what? It's not a real easy road. Washington's a quality team, and everybody in this field is capable of pulling an upset. There is a look at the times on Friday. South Carolina upstate, and the Huskies will kick it off at 12:30. Alabama and Fairfield. It is double elimination, and if Alabama wins there, they'll, of course, move on to the Super Regional against the winner of the Norman, Oklahoma regional hosted by the Oklahoma Sooners. More to come on Tider Insider TV, including a promise kept for Tony Nathan, almost 30 years in the making. And we'll check in on several former Crimson Tide football stars who are now wearing new uniforms in the National Football League. Hear from Landon Collins and Amari Cooper when we come back. And also coming up, we'll be taking your phone calls, emails, and answering your tweets. 205-348-9882 is the number. The email, pitv@wvuatv.com. And you can reach us on Twitter using the hashtag TiderInsiderTV. Tider Insider TV will return right after this. A lot of people said Blake Sims would never start a game at quarterback for Alabama. He did, 14 of them, leading the Tide to the SEC championship. Many are now saying he won't play in the National Football League. He might. He got a tryout with the Green Bay Packers. Head coach Mike McCarthy said he did some nice things. They decided not to sign him, but now he's going to get a shot with the Redskins as a running back. Don't count against Blake Sims making either a 53-man roster, a practice roster, or playing in Canada. I think he's got more football in his future. He is a winner. Rookie camps all over the NFL opened up last week, Rod, and several former Crimson Tide stars got their chance to shine in their new NFL uniforms. One of those who did a lot to impress was new Jacksonville running back T.J. Yeldon. Yeldon, the third running back taken in the draft in the second round, brought the crowd to its feet with several big runs during a scrimmage on Saturday. He showed that quickness and elusiveness that we were used to seeing. Remember, he was injured this past year. He was also used a lot in passing situations out of the backfield, another strength of his at Alabama. His new head coach, Gus Bradley, came away impressed, singling out Yeldon as one of the players who caught his eye. And Landon Collins is also a guy that, you know, he's got a little bit of chip on his shoulder. Thought he would go in the first round. He was the first player in the second round picked, but still did not go in the first round. The Giants, though, moved up 7 spots, traded with the Titans to get him. And Landon, just happy, you know, not worried about any of that draft stuff now, just happy to be back out on the field with his new teammates.
Fantastic. I mean, the biggest part of me is being on the field again, being with some guys and playing football, which you've been waiting for your whole life, you know, and it's just a fantastic moment. That's all on them. I mean, I gotta work my way up into the depth chart and continue playing my best.
football player. About all you have to say. Amari Cooper with the Raiders. Originally he said he was going to wear 19. Said now he just thinks 89 looks better on him. And that was one of the questions he was asked in his press conference following his first practice. And as always, Amari, short, sweet, and to the point.
Not really. I thought it would look better on me than 19.
Why?
I really can't even say why. It just looks like a better number. Yeah.
How does practice, just a rookie minicamp practice, how does this practice compare to how practices are run in Alabama? Is it a lot different? Is it?
Yeah, it's a lot shorter. It's a lot shorter.
Why was it important for you to get your contract signed and get all that out of the way so early?
Well, my agent advised me to do that, so I guess it was important to him, and I guess it was a smart thing to do.
Have you met Coach Del Rio back in Alabama with his son being the quarterback there for their 1 year?
No, I haven't met him.
You know, the Raiders aren't paying him all that money at $20 million or so to make a lot of sentences in press conferences. They're paying him to catch a lot of footballs, a lot of touchdowns, be a factor in their kicking game. And I said it on a radio show last week, and I'm on record. I think Gordon will have a big year with the Chargers. I think, TJ might have a big year with the Jags, but Amari Cooper is my pick as NFL Rookie of the Year next year, offensively for the Raiders. Right now, I think he's just going to light it up. Got a good young quarterback in Derek Carr there.
Yeah, and I think when you look at him, Gary, with his skill, and I just think he's going to make a quick adjustment. I'm with you. I think he's certainly a guy that to keep an eye out for in that regard, making a big splash as a rookie. And, Gary, when you look at him, he's as quick with his responses as he is on his feet.
I think he's going to have a big year. It wouldn't surprise me if he caught 100 balls as a rookie. I really believe that short passing game and loosen him up and then let him go downfield. Rod, a very cool story this week we want to tell you about. Former Crimson Tide running back Tony Nathan keeping a promise he made to his old coach, the late, great Paul Bear Bryant. Nathan received his bachelor's degree last weekend at the Capstone at age 58. During his senior season at Alabama, he asked Coach Bryant if he could drop a couple of classes, to get ready for football and to be able to focus more on that. Coach Bryant said yes, as long as you will come back and get your degree. Well, it might have taken 35 years, but better late than never. And, that's the kind of influence that Coach Bryant had. People remember their promises many years later. What a football player Tony Nathan was.
He was great. Tony Nathan was fantastic and a great high school player in this stadium. Where, Woodlawn?
Woodlawn High School.
He was outstanding.
Got a movie coming out about him in Woodlawn against Banks in that legendary game in the 70s. Number 22. All right, still more coming up on TITV, including a check-in on Alabama's baseball team. They did something this past weekend they had not done in 32 years, and it was all good for once for the Tide. Find out what it was when we come back. And next, we'll be welcoming your phone calls, emails, and tweets. Again, the information there on the screen on how you can get in touch with us. So go ahead and give us a call. Line up to talk to us. We want to hear from you. We'll be right back with the only show that takes you inside the Crimson Tide, Tider Insider TV. We'll return right after these messages. It's been a tough season for Alabama baseball, but they broke out the brooms at Auburn on Sunday. Alabama completing a 3-game sweep at Hitchcock Field at Plainsman Park in Auburn. That's the first time they swept the Tigers at Auburn since 1983. Alabama used 42 hits and 25 runs in the 3 games. I tell you something, they came alive in a big, big win, series win, and sweep for Mitch Gaspar. Not just because it's Alabama versus Auburn, but this gives the Tide still a shot to get into the SEC tournament in Hoover. They play Mercer tonight in Huntsville, then a huge series against Vanderbilt at the Hoover Met this weekend. Fans, they need your support, and they need you to come out in Hoover this weekend as they try to get into the SEC tournament taking on Vanderbilt. All right, it's time to head to the phone lines, and there's only one Plato from Panorama, and he's with us tonight. Hey, Plato, what's up?
Hey, guys. Can either one of y'all tell me how many more scholarships that the basketball team or Coach Johnson can award for next season?
Plato, I don't have it in front of me. You're allowed 13 total. I think they can sign 2 more, I believe. I'm not positive on that. I know they could sign 1 more for sure with Jeff Garrett leaving. Avery Johnson Jr. is coming in, so I'm not sure. It's either 1 or 2. But I think they will wind up signing at least 1 more player. But I don't have it right in front of me, the numbers. But I know they're at least 1 under. They may be 2 under. We'll check on that and try to pass it along to you next week. All right, what do we got going next? Let's go to Anniston and talk with our buddy Harold. Hey, Harold, what's going on, man?
How you doing, guys?
Hey, Harold.
Hey, got a question. What do y'all hear about Braxton and what's this other kid, Golson? I know Golson is visiting schools right now. Hadn't heard anything about Braxton as far as their transferring.
All right, Harold, Rodney, let's start with obviously Miller's been out there a while, but Avery Johnson is announced. He's visiting. As Harold said, he visited Florida State. Word is he visited Florida as well. He's got Alabama on his list. Start with Golson, and then we'll.
Yeah, I think Golson, Harold, expressed interest in Alabama quite a while back, to be honest with you, even before he announced he was leaving Notre Dame. So I think his interest in Alabama has been there for a while. Now, again, I don't know exactly where that stands right now, if Alabama has, a large degree of interest in him or whatever, but as far as Braxton Miller's concerned, it's still the same thing. I mean, again, until he announces that he's going to transfer, I mean, it's really at this point speculation, but I do think, talking to people up there, I do believe that Braxton Miller is given serious consideration to leaving Ohio State, and I do believe that he's very interested in Alabama.
All right, Rod, thanks for that. Hope that answers your question, Harold. Let's real quickly go to Birmingham and talk to Bill. Bill, got to go fast, man. What's up?
Hey, good afternoon, guys.
Hey, Bill.
Hey, how the linebackers shaping up?
Well, Bill, I think when you look at spring practice, I think you would have to say that those guys really progressed well. Thankfully, Reggie Ragland's back, came back for his senior year. I think when you look at Reuben Foster, that was one of the big questions. Who would step up alongside of Reggie Ragland? Reuben Foster had an outstanding spring. It looks like now he's beginning to turn the corner. Of course, you have Sean Dion Hamilton also inside, the young guy from Montgomery, and I think he's going to be an outstanding player. I also think the young guy from Tuscaloosa, who's going to be a redshirt freshman, Keith Holcomb's going to be outstanding. On the outside, you have some guys coming back, and I really like those speed guys with Rashawn Evans coming off the edge as a pass rusher, and Tim Williams. A lot of people think Tim Williams has as much potential in terms of a pass rusher as anybody, in the SEC, Gary. So I think, you've got some guys back. Dylan Lee's coming back too, and he's experienced. So I think it could be a strong suit.
Absolutely. Still more to come on TITV, including Alabama tennis and more of your phone calls, emails, and tweets. Again, the information is going to pop up on your screen on how you can interact with Tiger Insider TV. So go ahead and give us a call. We'll be right back with more after the break. Another really good year for Alabama women's tennis, but it ended sooner than they wanted. They did not make it to the round of 16. Lost in the second round of the NCAA tournament at home to Clemson. Clemson coached by a former Alabama tennis player, by the way. 4-2 was the score. Also losing were defending NCAA doubles champions Maya Jansen and Aaron Ratliff, but still, Jenny Mines has got it rolling over there with Alabama tennis. They're a really good program. All right, let's go back to the phone lines, and another one of our regulars is with us. CB, right here in T-Town. CB, you got your ears on, buddy. What's up?
Yes, sir. How y'all, Jim? It look like y'all could donate old man one of them pretty red ties. Look, what do y'all think about the expectation this year? All I'm hearing about Auburn, I don't want to hear that. What's up with Bama? Everything's low-keyed, ain't it?
Well, and that's probably not a bad thing. You're right. Auburn's getting a lot of play. I saw where they're couple prominent riders picked to win the national championship, so that's probably good for Alabama. I will say this, CB, and Rodney has his own thoughts, but when you have questions at quarterback, that's uncertainty. Now they had them last year, and Blake Sims stepped up and got it done. But once again, you go into fall without a starting quarterback. I'm a lot can change. Right now, my feeling is it could be a 2-3 loss team. That's right now. But, and they may get it all settled at quarterback. But it's hard to pick a team to win a conference championship when you don't know who your quarterback's going to be.
I think you're right, Gary. I think when you look at this team, certainly defensively, CB, I think if they can answer some things in the secondary, they've got a chance to have a great defensive front. I think they could be dominant up front defensively. So I think they've got a chance to really be good on that side of the ball. We know about the kicking game with the punter, J.K. Scott. I think he's outstanding. So, they've got some parts there. You look on the offensive side of the ball, though, they're replacing like 9 starters. But I do really believe that the offensive line has a chance to be really good as they develop. I do think they've got some good young receivers, and obviously the running backs in Kenyon Drake and Derrick Henry and so forth. But, I think you're right, Gary. I think when you look at that quarterback position, you're talking about a lack of experience, and that always plays a big role. A guy that is not experienced, it's always difficult playing in the SEC at that position. But, Blake Sims did it. To say it would happen 2 years in a row is kind of, stretch. But they've got 5 guys that they worked. We'll see how that goes and kind of see how things maybe change over the course of the next few months.
Got a long time, though, before we have to make real predictions. All right, BT is with us. BT, we're getting up against the clock. What you got, man?
Gary, what's kind of the basketball team going on up fast tempo, or do you have any ideas?
Okay, you're talking about basketball. Yeah, Avery Johnson has said for the record he wants to get it up and down the floor. You know, he's an NBA guy. They're used to playing with a 24-second shot clock. So I do think the tempo will be faster than it was under Anthony Grant. But again, you know, we'll have to wait and see for sure, Rod. But I do think that he wants to get it up and down the floor. All right, thanks for your phone calls. When we come back on Tider Insider TV, we'll update you on a former Crimson Tide golfer who made quite a bit of noise at the Players' Championship over the weekend, and a great-looking groom's cake with a surprise filling. You'll want to see this. Stay with us. We're live in Tuscaloosa, and we'll be right back. It was a great Mother's Day weekend for former Crimson Tide golfer Justin Thomas, at least until Sunday. On Saturday, in the third round of the Players' Championship at TPC Sawgrass, Thomas had 10 birdies. That's a tournament record. He finished at 7 under for the round, was tied for third, but on Sunday, you know, he's 22 years old. He fell off a little bit, wound up shooting 3 over, finished 7 strokes back of eventual champion Ricky Fowler. But great experience. He is going to be quite a player on the PGA Tour for years to come. The Alabama women's golf team advanced into the NCAA Championship over the weekend for the 10th season in a row. The Tide finished tied for 4th in the Raleigh Regional. That's good enough to advance to the NCAA Championships in Bradenton, Florida, which begin on May 22nd. And it's been an action-packed show tonight, Rob. But that is all for this edition of TITV. But if you missed the show, you can catch it again on replay tonight at 10:30 after the news at 10, or online anytime at WVUATV.com. And before we go, we got to show you this. This is the groom's cake at Robert Saban's wedding. Saban fittingly is a big Alabama fan with the name Saban, and his wife decided to put Nick Saban on top of an elephant. The surprise came when they cut the cake open to reveal his new bride's true colors, orange and blue, for the University of Florida Gators. It's a mixed marriage that may have gotten off to a rocky start. That's all. We'll see you again next week. Good night, everybody.